Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert's Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. All right, NFL week number 1 this Thursday, opening night, Dallas Cowboys, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's going to be an exciting 2021 season. We have 17 games per team. We have 18 weeks total in the NFL season this year, the most games in the history of the NFL. Are you ready? Yeah, I'm ready for some football. Okay, first game, Dallas Cowboys, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. On paper, that kind of looks like a lopsided matchup, and I'll agree with that to a point. Dallas was 6-10 last year, 5-7 versus the NFC. Buccaneers, we all know, 11-5. Super Bowl champions, 8-4 versus the NFC. Tom Brady, the ageless wonder. Now, if Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott, if they can play up to their expectations of what they should be, and there's an O-line in Dallas, could be a good game. Again, we know what Tom Brady can do. Tampa Bay is favored by 7.5 at home. I got them winning. I'm going to have Dallas cover that 7.5 because I think it may be a touchdown game. At the half point's like, okay, cool. I can have Dallas cover. I am taking over on the 52. TB, Tampa Bay, Tom Brady. Yeah, they're going to be another NFC champions this year, more than likely. Or at least they're going to be in the NFC Championship game. Tom Brady someday may have to fall off. I don't know when that is. 5 years, 10 years. Can he be a 50-year-old Super Bowl winning quarterback? Only time will tell. But for now, I got him winning at least week 1. He's been in double digits every year. He's never been under 500. His worst season was 9-7. Otherwise, he's had double-digit victories. Yeah, another double-digit victory season for him. Next up, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Buffalo Bills. Steelers 12-4 last year, 9-3 versus the AFC. Buffalo, the new leaders of the AFC East, 13-3 last year, 10-2 versus the AFC. Buffalo is favored by 6.5 at home. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 48. I think the Bills have turned a corner. I think they've kind of started the path here with a solid quarterback. They can move forward with this. He can be the franchise guy for them for years to come. Line in this game is Buffalo by 6.5, winning, covering, and over on the 48. Next up, the New York Jets versus the Carolina Panthers. So Sam Darnold, who was the Jets' number 1 draft pick in 2018, is now in Carolina. So in the last 13 drafts, 13 years, New York Jets have taken 3 first-round quarterbacks. Mark Sanchez, Sam Darnold, and now Zach Wilson. None of them have turned into franchise quarterbacks. Maybe Mark Sanchez to a point. Yeah, the Jets are horrible. Do they really think the rookie's going to fix the whole team being horrible? Negative ghostwriter. But any hoodles, I think Sam Darnold, we're going to find out this year to a point what he is made of. Carolina was 5-11 last year. The Jets were 2-14. Was it Sam Darnold or was it the team? If he can go to Carolina and do well, it was the team. If he goes to Carolina and does the same as last year, it's Sam Darnold or both. Carolina's favored by 5 at home. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 45. The rookie BYU quarterback, Zach Wilson, we're going to find out if he's an NFL quarterback real fast. If the team is not good, that's what happens. Patrick Mahomes lucked out when he got to Kansas City. He came into a good situation. Most of these high drafty first-round quarterbacks don't fall into that kind of situation. Next up, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Houston Texans. Now, Jacksonville was 1-15 last year, 1-11 versus the AFC. Houston was 4-12, 3-9 versus the AFC. We do have a change in Jacksonville. Urban Meyer is the head coach. We have Trevor Lawrence, who was 34-2 in college, the number 1 draft pick. Houston has to change as well. Deshaun Watson is their 3rd-string quarterback. Tyrod Taylor, David Mills, and then Deshaun Watson. Just trade him already. God, Houston, what are you doing? You can get prime picks for him. Damn. This year I will be rooting for Jacksonville. I live in Missouri, so I am a Chiefs fan. If you've seen last year's Super Bowl, you saw my Chiefs blanket in the background. I'm a Chiefs fan too. I'm going to be a Jacksonville Jaguar fan, all because of pro wrestling. As y'all follow Robert Sports Show. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter at Robert Sports Show. I'm a huge pro wrestling fan. I'm a huge AEW fan. Check out AEW All Out Review. So Jacksonville, the Khan family owns AEW. They own the Jaguars. I do want Jacksonville to do well. I think the better that the Jacksonville Jaguars do, the better that AEW does, the better it's going to help Jacksonville. The better Jacksonville, the more it's going to help AEW. I think there's going to be a translation there with the Khan family. But Jacksonville here, Houston is just a hot mess right now. Jacksonville is favored by 3 points on the road. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 45.5. Next up is the Arizona Cardinals versus Tennessee Titans. Kyler Murray, good rookie season, teaming up 8-8. Houston, 11-5, AFC South champions. Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry. How do you stop them two guys together? Derrick Henry, the number one running back in NFL right now. I mean, hell, 17 games. You really think he's not getting 2,400 yards? Whew, it's going to be crazy. Thing is, the teams know they're going to do it. They got to stop him. Arizona's not stopping him. Tennessee is favored by 3 at home. I got them winning, covering. I'm taking over on the 52. I think there could be some points on the board here. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Washington football team. Oh, come on. Get a name already, guy. Washington football team. 7-9 last year for the Chargers, 7-9 for the football team. But football team was the NFC East champions. 7-9. Wow. Justin Herbert coming off a rookie season. Ryan Fitzpatrick returning as Washington quarterback. Washington is one of those teams that should be looking to trade for Deshaun Watson. Honestly, I'd give 2-3 first-round draft picks for him, whatever it takes to get him in there to make your team better. Chargers are favored by 1. This is kind of a pick 'em in some ranks, -1 in some ranks. I am taking Chargers. They're favored by 1. Cover, I'm taking over on the 44.5. Next up, we have the Philadelphia Eagles and the Atlanta Falcons. Philadelphia 4-11-1 last year, 4-8 in the NFC. Atlanta 4-12, 2-10 versus the NFC. Jalen Hurts is the current starter for Philadelphia, but they do have Joe Flacco on the bench. Matt Ryan there in Atlanta. Whew. It's going to be a rough year for the Atlanta Falcons, I believe. Same way as Philadelphia. Atlanta is favored by 3.5 at home. Just because we not 100% what Jalen Hurts is going to be as a starting quarterback, I am taking Falcons to win. Cover the 3.5 and under on the 48. Next up, we have the Seattle Seahawks versus the Indianapolis Colts. Seahawks 12-4 last year, where the Colts were 11-5 last year. Seahawks have a returning Russell Wilson, one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the NFL. The Colts. Carson Wentz is questionable. Jacob Eason is the next up. Whew, that could be rough. Seattle is favored by 2.5 on the road. I got them winning, covering it under on the 48.5. Minnesota Vikings 7-9 in 2020 versus the Cincinnati Bengals, who are 4-11-1. Now Joe Burrow did get hurt. He is returning this year. They are better. They have went out and got a wide receiver. I cannot think of the dude's name right now. He's actually Joe Burrow's wide receiver in LSU. Hold on. Why didn't I write this down earlier? You know why? I don't, because I didn't think about it. So we're going to find out. Hang on one moment here. I can't think of the dude's name. But who I think it is actually drafted him in fantasy this year. Alright. Let's see here. Wide receivers. It's Jamar Chase, if I remember right. Yes, Jamar Chase. He was Joe Burrow's wide receiver at LSU. I did draft him in fantasy. I think I remember the name, goodness. But yeah, I think with that duo of Burrow and him, it's almost like you're kind of glad not glad Burrow got hurt, but it's like he got hurt 4-11-1. But you got a high draft pick. You took his favorite wide receiver from college. Now you got a dynamic duo. Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, anyone? Maybe? Question mark? We'll see. Time will tell on that one. Minnesota is actually favored by 3. I'm going to give Cincinnati a week or two to kind of get their bearings. Vikings, I think they're going to be able to win here. So I got the Vikings covering at 3 points and under on the 48. San Francisco 49ers versus the new look Detroit Lions. 49ers were 6-10 last year, while the Lions were 5-11. Jimmy Garoppolo returning for the 49ers. Jared Goff, the new quarterback for the Detroit Lions, that trade with Los Angeles for Matthew Stafford. Will a new atmosphere for Jared Goff help him? Same way with Matthew Stafford? I actually think so. San Fran is actually favored by 7.5. I'm giving it 7.5 to Detroit. I got Detroit winning. San Fran covering the 7.5. It's going to be a touchdown game, field goal game. I'm taking under on the 45. I think we're going to see good things from Jared Goff. Next up, when I did my fantasy draft, I decided to take this defense because I thought, yeah, it's going to be good defense this year. The Cleveland Browns, who were 11-5 last year. Yeah, cool. I'll take their defense. No big deal. Oh, by the way, they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs week 1, who was 14-2 last year, 10-2 in the AFC. Oh, by the way, my first 2 picks, Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, I dropped Cleveland's defense. I'll pick them up next week. Shh, don't tell anyone. But yeah, Kansas City favored by 6.5. Yeah, Kelce was my first round pick. Mahomes was my second pick. I picked 7th in an 8-person league, PPR, straight up PPR. So yeah, I got some points coming, hopefully. Hopefully those running backs everyone else took didn't hurt me. The good news is, good news for me, B Daddy J was a little late to the draft and hit auto picked his first pick, and he told me last night during All Out that he was going to take Mahomes, but he showed up at 6:01 to 6 o'clock draft. That left Mahomes on the table for me to grab in the second round. Yeah, thank you by that way there, B Daddy J. Appreciate that. Yeah. But yeah, Chiefs win, cover the 6.5 over in the 53. Next up, we have Miami Dolphins versus the New England Patriots. Dolphins 10-6. Patriots 79 last year, not a good year. They did draft Mac Jones. So now we have the last 2 starting quarterbacks for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Tua Tagovailoa and Mac Jones. When you go from Mac Jones, you go from Alabama, you go Nick Saban, Alabama, the elite of the elite, one of the greatest coaches in the history of college football, to the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick, one of the greatest coaches in the history of the NFL. Boy, he better succeed. Is he the next Tom Brady? Time will tell. But can he be a serviceable NFL quarterback? Time will tell. But you know what? New England is actually favored by 3 here. I'm going with the veteran, Tua Tagovailoa. Miami, I'm giving them the 3 points. I get them winning, covering, and over in the 43.5. My 2 might change next week, just like it did in the CFL for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. But yeah, right now I'm taking Miami over New England. Next up is Denver Broncos versus the New York Giants. 5-11 last year with Broncos, 6-10 for the Giants. Broncos got their choice between Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock. I would start Teddy Bridgewater. Daniel Jones returning for the Giants. Yeah, we'll see what he's got. Denver is actually favored by 2.5, and I do believe they're going to be starting Teddy Bridgewater, I think. If they do, I got them winning, covering, and over the 42. If they start Drew Lock, fingers crossed, because I picked up Denver's defense. Hopefully they're pretty good. Next up is Green Bay Packers and New Orleans Saints. We have no Drew Brees, as he retired, and replaced by Jameis Winston. That might be intriguing. Packers out 13-3 last year, 10-2 in the NFC. Aaron Rodgers, he's playing for a job for next year. Obviously, we know that they drafted the quarterback last year. His days in Green Bay are numbered. He just has to prove people wrong at this point. Put some points on the board. Green Bay is favored by 4.5. I got them winning, covering. I'm thinking over on the 50. Aaron Rodgers is a Tier 1 first-round Hall of Fame quarterback. He's going to prove it again this year. Next up, the Chicago Bears versus the Los Angeles Rams. Chicago did draft Justin Fields. They have Andy Dalton starting to begin the season. I don't know how long that's going to last, because if you go 0-2, 0-3, 0-4, or whatever, 1-3, where do you draw the line to pull Dalton and put Fields in? Because if you don't do that soon enough, your season is gone. But if you do it too soon, you may hurt the development of Justin Fields. Matthew Stafford there in LA. We'll see how that does. Is he better than Jared Goff? Well, time will tell. Here, the Rams are favored by 7.5. I got Chicago covering that 7.5, and then I'm taking over on the 44 with the Rams straight up win. And then Monday Night Football, the Baltimore Ravens versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Lamar Jackson, Derek Carr, could be a pretty decent matchup. The Ravens 11-5 last year. The Raiders only 8-8. Now, if I remember the story correctly, when Allegiant Stadium was built there in Las Vegas, one of those construction workers was a Kansas City Chiefs fan. He buried a Kansas City Chiefs flag under the stadium. That might be why the Raiders will never win in that stadium, win their division, and win the Super Bowl. Just going to throw it out there. Could have something to do with Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, but also it could be the flag, But Baltimore, I got them winning, covering 4.5 and over on the 51 here. All right, those are the 16 games in Week 1 of 18 NFL 2021 into 2022. CFL Week 6 will be up later this week. NCAA football, college football Week 2 will be up as well. Both of those have games going on today. We got Week 1 up here. Stay tuned to Robert Sports Show for each and every week and every single game of the NFL season. Same way with CFL, and then a lot of NCAA games. If you're new to Robert Sports Show, hey, welcome. Robert Sports Show is always filmed in front of a live studio audience. We do football, we do NASCAR, we do pro wrestling. If you're going to comment below, please do. If you want to have a video idea for me, like a topic of some sort, please comment below. I love to do those. I love to do a lot of research and do that kind of stuff. Hopefully more pro wrestling coming this year. I know as the next 4 months go along, there's going to be a lot of NASCAR. That season ends in November into next year, 2022, February. Oodles of NASCAR. If you're a NASCAR semi-fan or you want to know a little bit more about it, there's going to be enough videos in those 100 days that you'll get to know NASCAR really well if you follow Robert Sports Show. As always, don't have just a great day. Have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channel content.